All right, let's get right into it. Picture this. You've just been brought into some kind of elite celestial order, but there's no party, no welcome parade. Your first day is a stark, intense briefing that's going to define your entire existence by one thing: protocol. Today, we're looking at the orientation for a really fascinating and kind of grim group called the Iron Vanguard. This is how you turn a being into a silent, eternal sentinel. Right off the bat, the very first thing a recruit learns is to just throw out any idea of a higher calling. You can see it right here in their core belief. Inspiration is a liability. For the Vanguard, when chaos is scratching at the walls of existence, the only thing that works is a response that is mechanical, absolute, and just relentless. And trust me, this isn't just a catchy motto, it is their foundational truth. So the orientation immediately gets to work deconstructing everything a recruit might think they know about divine beings. They're told point blank to erase all those images of radiant angels with glowing wings and halos. The Vanguard sees all that as the language of what they'd call an inner court. You know, the entities who have the luxury of being performative. For the Vanguard, out here on the edge, that kind of display is a critical weakness. Now, what's really cool about this is how it breaks down that central divide in their thinking. On one side, you've got performative excellence. That's for the other choirs, the ones who inspire people, who sing, whose whole value is in their beautiful grand display. But the Iron Vanguard? They operate on a strict mandate of functional stability. Their value is in their mass, their silent, heavy presence. See, they don't inspire. Their entire purpose is to contain. The orientation uses this really powerful metaphor of reality being like a ship caught in a cosmic storm. And while other divine beings might be the ones decorating the sails or singing from the deck, the Vanguard sees themselves as the unseen weight deep down in the keel, the ballast. They aren't there to look pretty. Their job is purely to provide the raw structural stability that keeps the whole system from flipping over. They are, in their own words, necessary, not beautiful. And then the briefing gets personal. It shifts to the recruits' immediate physical reality, forcing them to focus on their new armor. They're told to feel its weight. And this isn't the weight of glory. It's the weight of pure function. It's described as just thick, unadorned iron. And the scars on it, they're not trophies from some epic battle. They're just records of structural integrity holding up against constant, unrelenting pressure. And this just perfectly illustrates the complete identity shift they're engineering here. A recruit's physical form is no longer a vessel for expression. It's just a tool. The armor is both a physical and a psychological wall, designed to project an unyielding, monolithic presence. They are being systematically remade from a herald, someone who announces things, into a fortress, something that simply stands. Okay, next recruits are given their operational imperatives, and these are meant to completely overwrite their old instincts. Let's just look at them. The key themes here are immediacy and anonymity. They're trained to act on the first flicker of trouble without waiting for permission. They have to maintain their post without any compromise. And, this is crucial, they have to reject any kind of personal honor or recognition. It is all about enforcing that absolute secure perimeter. So here's the bottom line, and it's a huge distinction in their doctrine. A member of the Vanguard is not a warrior. Warriors are all about seeking victory and glory in a fight. The Vanguard are framed more like engineers of order. Their whole mission is to restrict contagion, to seal breaches before they can widen, and to do all of it with the cold, detached focus of a machine. It's a task of precision, not passion. Which brings us to a really fundamental question about the Vanguard's entire existence, right? If there are no glorious charges, no vanquished enemies being celebrated in song, how do they possibly measure success? How does a recruit know if they've actually done their job out there in the quiet dark? And the answer is, weirdly enough, kind of corporate. Their key performance indicator, their KPI, is silence. A mission is only considered a success when absolutely nothing happens. No alarms, no calls for backup, and ideally, no one else in the rest of existence even knows a threat was ever there to begin with. This visualizes their perfect mission report, a single, stark zero. For the Iron Vanguard, stagnation is victory. The preservation of the status quo, that's their ultimate triumph. And this gets to the very core paradox of their existence. Their greatest, most important achievements are, by definition, completely and utterly unnoticed. This whole idea is formalized in what their doctrine calls the philosophy of the empty ledger. As the quote says, if the history books are empty of their names, it means the system is still standing.
The logic is brutally simple. If a Vanguard member is ever celebrated or even written down in a history book, it means something catastrophic must have happened. It means they failed.
So how do they actually achieve this state of silent success? Well, the orientation explains it as basically overriding their internal programming. This table is fantastic. It shows the direct replacement of standard emotional responses. Fear and discord are systematically replaced with structural stability. A desire for guidance is met with an unyielding presence, and any vulnerability to despair gets overwritten by pure mechanical integrity. The final part of the orientation defines the recruit's eternal station, a place they call the threshold. It's described as the most critical, the most volatile interface between existence and, well, nothingness. This isn't just any border. It's presented as the definitive, final defensive line protecting the entire architecture of creation from total entropy. And here's where their doctrine gets truly mind-bending. Their duty doesn't even change during the end times. Their mission isn't to stop the apocalypse, it's to regulate it. They are the enforcers of the cosmic timeline, the keepers of the seals, making sure that a controlled collapse doesn't spiral into total, premature annihilation. They are essentially the project managers of the apocalypse. The stakes of this duty are made incredibly, terrifyingly clear to the recruits. There is no relief. There are no rotations off duty. They are told that the weight they carry is existence itself, and that a single moment's lapse, a single breath of inattention, would mean the end of everything. The pressure is designed to be absolute and eternal. And it all boils down to this one final, permanent directive. The entire complex psychological orientation is condensed into 3 simple commands that are meant to become the recruit's entire being. Maintain your post, secure the margins, hold the line. That's it. That's everything. So, the orientation ends with this one last provocative question, which is really the ultimate psychological test for any member of the Iron Vanguard. The true challenge isn't facing the howling void outside, it's facing the profound, eternal quiet of a job perfectly and invisibly done. And it leaves us with a question to think about. Could you bear the silence of that kind of success?